Great disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, you guys, you are really going to find this interesting. It is from United States Attorney's Office, Southern District of California, Southern District of California. Church leaders indicted in forced labor conspiracy. Okay, Tuesday, September 10th, 2019, for immediate release, and without me saying too much, because you know I want to start snapping. For immediate release, U.S. Attorney's Office, Southern District of California. Assistant U.S. Attorney Christopher P. Tenorio, 619-546-8413. Okay, I know what the one in the V is. I believe that's 4. M, indictment. Maybe that's the indictment number. Let's see who they actually do go after, because, inquiring minds want to know. El Centro. A dozen leaders of Imperial Valley Ministries, including the former pastor, are charged in an indictment unsealed today. Oh, they unsealed it. Mind you guys of the Bible? With subjecting dozens of mostly homeless people to forced labor, coercing them to surrender welfare benefits. Yeah, it's a scam. And compelling them to panhandle up to 9 hours a day, 6 days a week. Just like the children of God, children had to do, and still are. For the financial benefit of the church leaders, prestigious executives. The defendants were arrested today. Arrested. In El Centro, San Diego, and Brownsville, Texas, in charge with conspiracy, forced labor, and that's something. Document servitude. Interesting. And benefits fraud. Well, how about that? The local defendants, the ones they don't name here, are scheduled to be arraigned in federal court in El Centro today at 1:30 p.m. 13 is the initiate number, just so you know. Before the U.S. Magistrate Judge Ruth Bermudez Montenegro. The indictment alleges an appalling abuse of power by church officials who preyed on vulnerable homeless people. With promises of a warm bed and meals. Isn't that great, you guys? Said U.S. Attorney Robert Brewer. These victims were held captive. Kind of like the children in Scientology that are falsely imprisoned? Locked up in nasty rooms and made to sleep on the floor? Stripped of their humble financial means. How many Scientologists go through that? Their identification. Oh, wow. Like all the children's passports that are taken from them and they can't leave in Scientology. their freedom. Can you imagine this? So, only homeless people deserve freedom, huh? Not the children in Scientology? Huh. And their dignity. Interesting. Human trafficking robs victims of their most basic human rights, said FBI Special Agent in Charge, Scott Bruner. Wow. What about the children in Scientology, Mr. Bruner? What about them? Asking grown men and women sexual questions in the auditing process, being made to be auditors, being made to go to muster 3 times a day, 6 a.m. sharp, not being able to go to school, being made to do manual labor, scrubbing bathrooms with toothbrushes, dumpsters with toothbrushes, or what was it, Nathan Rich, he got dunked in a horse trough. Oh, and also he was made to do these push-ups. I forgot what they're called. Kind of like burpees in horse poo. What about that? Is that a human rights violation? Mr. Bruner? Victims of human trafficking are often unseen by society. Well, you could say that again. Es secreto, secretive. Left pleading in silence, silencio. Huh. Kind of like all the children locked up in those rooms, locked up in the hotels, in the buildings, where nobody comes to help them, where they're made to wear uniforms at 4 and 5 years old, told that if they cry, they're interbulating, told if they're upset about something that they're banky, told to go and write down their overts and withholds if they're not in conformance with what somebody wants them to do, signed over to guardianships of people that the parents don't even know. Is that illegal? Labor trafficking alleged to have been committed by the leaders of Imperial Valley Ministries in Imperial Valley and San Diego. This investigation is an example of the tireless and dedicated work undertaken by FBI agents and our partners at the El Centro Police Department in combating this heinous crime. Well, I'm grateful, but I wish some of you guys would look into what's happening to the children in Scientology throughout the world, as we speak, right now. Imperial Valley Ministries, or IVM, oh, that reminds me of some type of magical ritual, right there, IVM, Latin, operates a non-denominational church headquartered in El Centro, and has opened approximately 30 affiliate churches throughout the United States and Mexico, including locations in Los Angeles, Santa Ana, and San Jose in California, in Las Vegas, Nevada, Phoenix, Arizona, and Brownsville, Texas. I can't help that IVM is sticking out to me. I'm going to have to go look at that. You know, kind of like Nexium. Stated purpose is to restore drug addicts at faith-based rehabilitation group homes. Like Narconon? Except Narconon will claim to have medical help when they don't. At faith-based rehabilitation group homes, and raise money to open churches in other cities to do the same. I mean, it is a smaller scale, though. In addition to the church and main office, IVM owned and operated 3 group homes the El Centro area, plus one in Galexio and one in Chula Vista. Many victims were recruited from outside of El Centro, including San Diego and as far away as Tejas. IVM leaders allegedly induced many to participate with offers of free food and shelter. Where have we heard that before? With the false promise that victims would be provided with resources to eventually return home. Always preying on the vulnerable. According to the indictment, defendants checked in the victims at the IVM group homes. CBJ investigates. Where they were required to sign agreements to adhere to rules. Many victims, including many who did not require drug rehabilitation services, claimed they were later held. False imprisonment, anyone? At IVM properties against their will. It's happened at a lot of Narconon facilities, but The indictment alleges that church leaders locked victims inside group homes with deadbolt locks. Like the children in Scientology? Similarities are stunning. Confiscated identification documents? Like the Scientologists, especially the ones who've come from different countries? Children and adults? Passports. Immigration papers and identification cards in order to prevent victims from escaping stole victims' welfare benefits. And required adherence to rules such as, listen, you are not to discuss things of the world, like suppressive, like PTS, like degraded. And the only thing to be read is the Holy Bible. Like L. Ron Hubbard policies. And if any of the rules are broken, there will be discipline. Imagine that they broke this up, but all the children suffering in these Scientology schools being sexually abused by older, either children or adults in the confines of Scientology. Windows were nailed shut at some group home locations, like the windows at the Blue Building, in all the hotels, the Fort Harrison Hotel in Florida, like those? Or what about the prison camp in Hemet, California, International, I think it's called the Int Base. They have Constantine wire over it. Does that count too? Inquiring minds want to know. Leading a desperate 17-year-old victim to break a window, escape, and run to a neighboring property to call police. Well, isn't it great that that 17-year-old had that option? The children in Scientology don't have that option. They don't have that option. They lock them up. They put them in the RPF. They put them in the child RPF. Known to LAPD officers, known to Clearwater officers, known by the FBI, and nobody's doing anything about it. And maybe there are people doing something about it. But I'm just bringing it up, that's all. The teen was brought to El Centro Medical Center for cuts sustained from the escape. Well, at least that 17-year-old was able to escape, right? Young Scientologists in the blue buildings can write big help signs on the window, and the police do nothing about it. The police talk to the other handlers, and they keep them locked up in there. Nobody comes to help them. Just like nobody came to help Lisa McPherson, and nobody was able to help, oh, what's the other lady's name? The one who allegedly started herself on fire and then shot herself. Yeah, the Clearwater woman who was an OT8 and allegedly started herself on fire and then had the tenacity to blank herself, right? They weren't able to escape. They weren't able to escape. They weren't allowed. Defendants are alleged to have extorted the surrender of participants' electronic benefits transfer, EBT cards, obtained through the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP. Would that be like the Chase Wave or all the elder people in Scientology that had credit cards opened up in their names? Otherwise known as financial fraud. Does that count? Then use the SNAP benefits for improper purposes, including providing them to ineligible persons. Fraud. Scientology's never done that, have they? In improperly instructing the intended recipients to not seek or accept outside employment. Kind of like how Scientologists are not allowed to, one, go to the doctor, in certain situations, or what's the other one? They don't want children that have psychosis or adults that have full-blown psychosis to go to a mental health hospital or see a psychiatrist. By the way, a lot of them have died, but, no big deal, right? Not a big deal. They died psychotic. Or perhaps like the young boy in Australia who was full-blown psychotic and stabbed his mother to death because she wouldn't give him his what do they call that? The iPod, the little music. He was just full-blown psychotic and nobody would give him the proper help. Facts ain't defamation. Leaders of IVM, including former pastor Victor Gonzalez, refused to return the confiscated EBT cards and personal property, just like the passports that are locked up in Scientology, especially the children's. And personal property to participants. You don't get personal property in Scientology. A lot of times people will invade your room that you're living in and come in and take your stuff and throw it away if you got them mad for some reason. Okay. Confiscated EBT cards and personal property to participants who asked to leave. Asked to leave. Just like Scientologists who want to leave and they're forced to route out and tortured for weeks on end, and usually they are talked out of their thoughts. IVM members also allegedly used various means to coerce participants to stay and continue panhandling for IVM's financial benefit by saying their children would be taken away if they left. There's the blackmail. That they would not receive transportation home, like Scientologists, or that loved ones had rejected them, like Scientologists, and they must stay because only God loved them. Punishments for violations of home rules, including talking about the outside world, like the WOG world, allegedly included the withholding of food. Oh, wow, isn't that something? Because they do that to the Scientology kids. Yeah, crazy. They withhold food if the child's not doing exactly what they told them to do. Or if they do give them food, they might give them the slop from all the other adults that have already eaten. They'll give them the worst of the worst of the worst. The dogs wouldn't even eat. Yeah. Just trying to bring the parallels in here. Just, In another instance, church leaders allegedly refused to allow a diabetic victim to obtain medicine. They don't see why they do this stuff. They don't want people to know. That's medical neglect. And let's see where this goes. Medical supplies and even food in response to low blood sugar. They could kill him doing that. Oh, it was a lady. She was able to escape and get help. Well, thank God she can escape, right? Because Scientologists are not allowed. The ones in the Sea Org and some of the public come and go, but they're all prisoners in many ways. Guess that's okay, huh? Imprisoning adults and children in the United States and other countries, I guess that's okay. As long as the money's coming in. All of the identified victims are now free. How nice for them. Isn't that great? That's wonderful. I'm glad to hear it. But unfortunately, a lot of the children in Scientology, as well as some of the adults, they're not allowed to escape. Henceforth, go look at the Hemet compound. They've got Constantine wire all around it. In fact, some of the apartment buildings for some of the executives and other Scientologists in the Sea Org in Los Angeles have Constantine wire as well. But I guess LAPD doesn't see that. Isn't that crazy? Like maybe the LAPD need to clean out their eyes and really look to see that Constantine wire. Victim specialists have been on standby to provide immediate assistance to any additional victims. That's great. I'm glad. We find in order to provide them with shelter, transportation, or any necessary support services. And I'm glad. That's good. You guys did some good work. I'm grateful. This is the most significant labor trafficking. Can you believe this? This is the most significant labor trafficking prosecution in this district in many years. Well, it's Southern California. And I'm grateful they did it. Brewer said, these cases are few and far between because many victims live in captivity and fear, like the Scientologists, powerless to report the crimes against them. Like the Scientologists, it's written right in their policies. My office wants victims to know that we are here to help you. Well, I'm glad that some of the victims get help. It's an interesting name, Brewer. Like a brewer, like somebody who brews. Praise the FBI and Prosecutor Christopher Donorio for the excellent work on the case, and he expressed appreciation for the assistance in the Imperial County District Attorney's Office, the El Centro Police Department, the Imperial County Sheriff's Office, the U.S. Marshal Service, the U.S. Border Patrol. Wow, they're all working together. That's great. And Imperial County Social Services for their assistance with the case. I'm glad they helped these homeless people, allegedly. And I know I'm being pompous, thinking that the FBI can just walk in there. It's not that easy. It's not that easy, you guys. It's just not. People are being controlled with the mind control. It's just the children. We got to figure out a way, To report suspicions of labor trafficking, please contact the Sorry, I ate stuff I shouldn't have eaten. Now I'm messed up. Contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI 225-5324 or, anyways, there's a link. If you know someone who is a victim of human trafficking, resources can be found at National Human Trafficking Hotline. Go listen to Kathy/Dylan Groves. She let people know what was really going on. Assistant U.S. Attorney Christopher Tenorio is prosecuting the case with assistance from the Department of Justice, Civil Rights Division, Human Trafficking Prosecution Unit. Okay, so let's blast them. Let's blast them. This is public knowledge, you guys. Public information. Victor Gonzalez, age 40, Brownsville, Texas. That's right on the border. Susan Christine Leva, a.k.a. Susan Christine Gonzalez, Christy Gonzalez, age 39, Brownsville, Texas. Jose Joe Anthony Diaz. Mercedes Gonzalez, 37, Brownsville. Arnolo Bulgarian, El Centro, California. Azucena, I don't know how to say it. Azucena Torres, a.k.a. Susana Bulgarian, age 43. Anyways, Sergio Partida, Ana Karen, Jose Chito Morales, Jose de Mara Flores, Jose Gaetan, Sonia Murillo. And then here's all the charges. So, oh wow, this is good, you guys. Screenshot that. Those are charges that should be applied towards a lot of the things going on in, well, what's going on in Scientology. As well as more, we know. And seriously, I know I'm kind of a smart mouth, but it's just not that easy. We're like, oh, the FBI has to come in. This is not like, like you're just going to walk in there and, la-di-da-di, and it's just not that easy. But anyhow, it's kind of good to see what statutes are here. And I especially like to look at the federal statutes because that supersedes anything. So you got summary of charges, conspiracy, Title 18 U.S.C. Section 371, maximum penalty, 5 years in prison, and $250,000 fine. It's chump change for Scientology. Unless you're a Sea Org member and you don't even have money for shampoo. Forced labor, I guess it's a thing. You guys, forced labor is really a thing. Can you imagine? Title 18 U.S.C. Section 1589. Maximum penalty, 20 years in prison. Prison. Oh, $250,000 fine. So let's see, that's $500,000 right there, right? That would hurt Scientology pocket, just that alone. $500,000. Document servitude, Title 18 U.S.C. Section 1592. Maximum penalty, 20 years in prison. Prison. And $250,000 fine. Food Stamp Act, Benefits Fraud, Title 7 U.S.C. Section 2024B, must be a new one. Maximum penalty, 20 years in prison and $250,000 fine. So right there, that'd be $2 million that Scientology would have to pay out. So that's it, you guys. I'll leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace.